relax, meditate, read a... listen to an audiobook.
Let me get my life together real quick.
Yo siempre pienso en ti. A veces sueño contigo. Oh yeah, you said it. You did, yeah, you said it. You did, yeah, you said it. Oh yeah, you said it. Oh yeah, you said it. Oh yeah, you said it. You did, yeah, you said it. You did, yeah, you said it. No, don't you give my hopes up like that.
Alright, beautiful day, love bugs. I'm back with another video. I am Mimi, the fairy queen from GiraSoul Jewels. Yeah, let's get right into what today's topic is. Y'all know that from now on, every time I post a YouTube video, I will be telling you guys which orders are being shipped for that week. I'm gonna wait for that and we'll talk about that later. So this is a very special episode. Once a month, I do want to start doing a mental health check-in. It's gonna be me sharing my mental health state. Also, I want you guys to leave comments and talk about, you know, what you're going through, what you're dealing with. I know mental health is just so very important. It's like the biggest thing, really. It's the biggest thing because everything trickles down from mental health. No matter it's work, family, relationships, school, creativity, whatever it is in life, if you're not in the right state mentally, it's not going to be what you want it to be. That being said, I am starting off the first mental health check-in. We're gonna talk about a lot because there's a lot to talk about, but just bear with me and remember to stay tuned so that you guys can figure out which orders are being shipped with this week's shipment. Y'all know that I started my business, GiraSoul Jewels, from a mental health angle. I was going through a rough time. Y'all gonna have to go back and and watch what is GiraSoul Jewels. Okay, I'll put that in the description below. And so anyways, I was just in a really rough patch and I was just lost. I didn't know myself at all. This was like a really scary time for me because previously I thought I knew who I was, and then I was realizing as time went on, I was like, ooh, like, bitch, who are you? Like, what do you like to do? What is your ultimate goals in life? You know, I didn't even know what I was doing. I felt like I was just on a hamster wheel. I wanted to get a hold of my mental state, my mental health, and I wanted to share the things that I learned along the way, especially with the crystals and crystal healing. I wanted to share that with all of you guys. So of course, that being said, y'all know that mental health is a big thing for me. Since this is a mental health check-in, let me go ahead and say, I don't know if you guys experience seasonal depression, but that's something that's affected me, I believe, my whole life. Like ever since I can remember. As soon as it starts to get cold, it's like I'm a different person. I feel cold, emotionally or metaphorically cold. Like, and then when the sun's out and when it's, you know, sunny and warm and whatnot, I feel warm, I feel sunny, I feel happy. The clouds and the cold really affect me no matter what I do. This winter, when November hit, y'all, woo-wee. Obviously, I've been away from social media for a while. I took a break from November to January to just get my stuff together for the business and mentally. Mentally, I was just not in the right space. This winter season, it really hit me hard. This year in general, 2020, I was really focused on my mental health and I wanted to implement things that would enhance my mental health state. Recently, someone sent me a book, The Happiness Equation, which is such a good book, and I'm not done with it, but there is a podcast also. I'm gonna put that below as well. The reason why I know about the book is because of the podcast, which my friend put me onto the podcast, but it was so good. It was just talking about how in general we're taught work hard, then be successful, then you'll be happy. But really it's the opposite of that. It's really you have to start off with being happy. Be happy, and then once you're happy, you're gonna produce great work. After you produce great work, then what comes next? Great successes, great successes, great successes. That was a pivotal moment for me, which was just a few weeks ago that I first heard of this. It was so impactful because I'm like, yeah, that is what we're taught. Run yourself to the ground, then you're gonna get some successes. Once you get that, you're gonna be happy.
That's not how this goes at all.
Because if you look around, you're gonna see most people are steady on a hamster wheel of some sort and they never achieve pure happiness. We have 100% of happiness. 40% of that is hereditary. 10% of that is circumstances, like things that happen to you. So that's only 50%. And then the other 50% is actually what you do to bring about your happiness. What are you doing? Are you into crystal healing? Are you doing things to align your chakras? Do you meditate? Do you read? Do you go outside for just some fresh air? These are things that we actually need to do. All of these things can help increase your happiness meter. That's a little bit about what I want to talk about. I've been figuring out how I can just be my optimal happy self, and that doesn't mean you're always happy 25/8, but understanding that when I have those moments of anxiety or fear or whatever, those are temporary moments, but happiness really is kind of throughout life. And then those scarier moments or anxious moments, those are just pockets in between. Anyways, I'm feeling better. Obviously, I've come back to social media, so that's a sign that I'm definitely feeling better, because I was in a really depressed hole. I don't know where to begin with this. Basically, my face. It's my face. I never really dealt with acne until high school, junior year, or senior. Senior year, because I remember seeing a picture. I had a really bad breakout of acne, and then it went away. Skin was smooth, you know, butter smooth, like it was perfect. Then I had moved to Argentina for a little bit, and when I went there, I had to talk to my doctor to get my birth control, right? Because I was gonna be there for almost a year. I was in Argentina, so I was like, I need my birth control for all these months. They're like, no, sorry, we don't do that. The most we do is 6 months. And I'm like, okay, I'm moving to another country. I will be back, but in the meantime, I need to stay as safe as I can. She was just not having it. It was ridiculous. Like, I couldn't believe it. She's like, well, here are some other birth control options. And I remember my mom was like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Mind you, I thought I just had to be on something. As time went on, I'm like, dang, why would I put this chemical pill in me every single day? That's crazy. Anyways, the doctor was like, here's some other birth control options. And I went ahead and got on Depo. I'm gonna tell you right now, Depo, do not do it. It's terrible. Oh my gosh. First of all, I gained a lot of weight, which is fine, I guess, because y'all see I'm pretty tiny. But then I just started to really gain. I started getting a double chin. I also had some really crazy emotional mood swings. And then the worst part about it was the acne. Oh my gosh. So just horrendous. It was from the top of my hairline all the way to pretty much my collarbone. It was like right above, like maybe like right here. From here to all the way up to my hairline. Hella blackheads. For some reason, it was blackheads everywhere, like just deep inside. And I would just feel these hard bumps, just hard everywhere. And I'll never forget the day I was out with my parents, and we was shopping at the Exchange. And if y'all know the Exchange, there's mirrors everywhere in that bitch. There's mirrors everywhere. I look and I see just me looking back at me. I felt disgusting. I felt almost like a monster. Like I didn't want to be seen. I felt just the most disgusting I've ever felt in my life. It wasn't recording. No, wait, was it? And I broke down right there in the middle of the store. So I just go to the bathroom and I'm like, what the fuck? And then my mom comes after me. She's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, look. And I show her my neck and everything. This is her first time seeing like everything, because I had just got back from Argentina. Oh my gosh. I pull up my shirt a little bit and I show her. I'm like, look at how far down it's going. She's like, oh my goodness. Now remember, this is birth control. So then to rectify that, I go to another doctor, a dermatologist, and they put me on Accutane. And the doctor said, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. But I couldn't handle it, so I stopped. I didn't really see a lot of progress happening. And at the same time, I would ask the doctor, okay, well, this is when I kind of was first starting to learn about natural remedies. So I was like, somebody told me about turmeric, like turmeric can help with dark spots and acne. Anytime I brought up anything natural, these doctors was just like, no, that's gonna do this, that's gonna do that. And then it's so funny because for the turmeric, my doctor was like, yeah, that's gonna dry you out. I don't recommend that. But the pill that they had me on, that Accutane pill, dried me out. So I'm like, honestly, it's really deep. Health in general in America is really deep and sad. So anyways, I say all that to say all of that with my face, it has affected it to this day, and which is why I'm still having issues. I am not depressed about it right now, but I was even a few weeks ago. I was just trying to get rid of this spot. Basically, after all of that crazy acne went away, I was left with a few like indentations, and then one of them I could tell like there was like maybe acne underneath. So then I kept trying to do things to like bring it out, scrubbing and whatnot, and then it burnt like layers of my skin off. And that's a huge reason as to why I've been absent for the past few months. I've been dealing with it. As y'all can see, there's still like a scar here. I have my good days and I have my bad days, but when our first layers of skin came out, it was bleeding, it was throbbing, just throbbing, almost as if I was in a fire. It was like I was in a fire and I done came out with just this chunk of skin missing. It was so bad. Yeah, it was hard. I wasn't leaving out of my home. I wasn't going anywhere really. Thankfully, you know, everywhere is like mask. So anytime I had to go somewhere, I'm like mask, period, and don't look at me. It was just so depressing. I kept going further and further into a deeper depressed hole, and of course I still have to run my business at the same time. So I started getting more depressed because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind in orders, and I can't even show my face and talk to people because I have to hide. I felt like I really had to hide. It was really terrible, really terrible. Thankfully, I've been figuring out a way to get my face back to where I want it to be, and it probably will never be, you know, perfect, but a few different brands sent me some things to try, and they didn't even know I was dealing with all this, which is crazy. But shout out to Alya Skin. They have this Australian pink mask that's amazing. I was doing it every day, but I ran out, so I'm waiting for some more of that. But it's Australian pink clay, and you just put a thick layer all over, let it get hard, and then wash it off. You could just feel the difference of your skin when you take it off. That's one thing. And then Pacífica Cosmetics, oh my goodness, they have these pore strips and that's what really showed me, because I was curious before. I was like, is there acne underneath? Like, because my skin was flat, or there would be small little indentations. There was nothing raised up. So I was like, there's something inside and I gotta get it out. So I tried these pore strips, and oh my gosh, every time I do the pore strip, there's literally, look at this video, y'all. I have to do a video, but look at that. That just came out of my face. I'm trying to show y'all how thick it is and disgusting.
This is from that scar on my face.
Look at that. Oh my god, that just came out of my face.
Ugh, it's so nasty.
It's disgusting. The only way I can get it out is with these pore strips and with the mask. And then I was using the whole vegan line of the Pacífica. They're all right here so y'all can see. And I'm also going to put it below in the description. I'm going to keep you guys posted with my face and whatnot, because I know that I'm not the only one with issues like this. Hopefully this can help you guys just understand everything is temporary. Everything's temporary. Nothing's going to be forever. And that's what I have to remind myself every day, especially when I go look in that damn mirror. I'm like, okay, it's temporary. It's temporary. It's temporary. It's funny because yesterday I had to take a pause, so this is like day 2 of filming this video. When I went to YouTube to play my meditation, there's a bunch of meditations on the suggested, but then there's one clip that's like, accept your face. It was just a thumbnail of the guy, and you can tell his face is different, but that title was just so powerful, because you do have to just accept yourself no matter what, because if you don't accept you, nobody will, honestly.
And he then piped up and said, what use is it being pretty if he can't even see himself? In that instant, I owned my face.
So yeah, that's that. Whether it was my face, the weather, me being behind in my business, all of it was so overwhelming for me. So I just kind of isolated myself and was like, okay, just do what you need to do to get out of this. But firstly, let me just say, if you deal with anxiety and depression, you're gonna experience that throughout your life. It's not going to just disappear one day, or there's no like cure-all for it. You have to work on it every day. There's some things that I've implemented for me, and maybe it'll help you guys. I really believe that it just happened the way it happened because of the universe, okay? It wasn't like I was searching for how to get out of this depressed hole. I thought that I pretty much knew certain things, but obviously we could always continue to learn and grow. One day my friend put me onto this podcast by Amy, I can't think of her last name, but it's actually Ali Ward. She has this podcast called Ologies, and it's basically she'll bring a guest on, and her and the guest will delve into some type of scientific topic. This episode is called Awesomeology. Obviously that doesn't sound like a real word, but goodness, this podcast, I actually listened to it like at least 4 times. It's such a good podcast about just being grateful and finding happiness in life. She brought on a guest with her, Neil Pazricha, the happiness equation. This is what they talk about in the podcast. I would suggest listening to the podcast first and then reading the book, because for me, well, that's how it happened naturally, but the podcast is kind of more so of an introduction into the book. I just want to say one thing real quick from this. You start with being happy, and then you do great work, and then you will find your great successes. We have to start off with being happy, which that is obviously the challenge, especially the world we live in today. It's really difficult to be happy. It's so many things trying to pull you down. Anyways, you have to start off with being happy, and then so that's the challenge, and then that's when we have to figure out, okay, how do we start off with being happy? So when I'm listening to the podcast and reading the book, then you discover it's best to wake up in the morning and have a set routine that will get your mind, body, and spirit right for the rest of the day. For me, every morning I wake up and I do my sun salutation. Ashton August, she has the most amazing sun salutation. It's really just warm, welcoming, very easy to follow, and I love her energy. You feel at home. You feel at home when you're practicing yoga with Ashton August. So I'll make sure I put that below, the link to that sun salutation. So that's how I start off my day, a nice sun salutation, and then followed by a meditation, a guided meditation, usually by Bob Proctor, followed by breakfast. Of course, you have to eat. You have to eat. You have to eat. You have to have fuel. There's no car that's running out here that don't have no type of fuel or energy source. You can't keep going without food. Woo-wee, I turn into a different person when I don't have food. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I have to make sure I eat. Nighttime, I make sure I have my dinner, and I like to read. When I'm going to sleep though, it's always meditation music. Also, I try to not watch any screen for like an hour before I go to bed. If you listen to that podcast, you're gonna find out why. So definitely everybody go listen to that podcast. And if you can, get your hands on this happiness equation book because it's amazing. So shout out to you, Neil Pasricha, Ali Ward, Ashton August, and Bob Proctor. All of y'all, thank y'all. It means a lot to me. So that's pretty much it. So I kind of went back with a lot of just my history of anxiety and depression a little bit, but my face has been a really big part of my most recent depression. So I'm glad I'm finally telling you guys about it. I was tired of hiding and I felt like I always had to hide. So don't mind me if you see me on Instagram and I may not have my full face on, leave me alone, okay? Yes, I have a scar. It is what it is, okay? I'm accepting my face. For me, where I am right now from 1 to 11, please comment below. Let me know what you guys are feeling. I want you guys to do a mental health check-in as well. Below in the comments, rate your mental state right now between 1 and 11. And if you want to go in depth and talk about it, definitely do that too. I think it's important that we all communicate, if you want to, about where you're at mentally. That's what this is all about, GiraSoul Jewels. So I really want to get back to the basics of GiraSoul Jewels. The shop is not opening back up until I'm caught up, but I am working hard to get caught up on those orders, okay? So just have some more patience with me. We're gonna make it out of this.
Cause I know better days than next. I put my best foot forward every day. I don't know no other way. I don't know no other way. No. I really know what it's like feeling good. Get this word up, you really want to, because of all of the things you've been through. But if I'm worth it, so are you. Then so are you.
That was really nice. My energy was there, bitch. That's what I do now.
Just push on